And if it's working, I'm going to shoot Lori a quick message saying it's working again. All right, we are recording. Oh, we are streaming.
Hey, how
You
exciting.
did it. Proud of you.
Good job.
It's working now.
Now let's get our one viewer. Let's go. Come on, Lori. Here we go.
We're ready.
I need to make sure I turn off the volume. See, and then I'm just going to go. I thought I was in, but the comment. Oh, yeah. Refresh. refresh. Well, now, Erica, you have to worry about whatever because we're live. So
It's fine.
this is going to be fun. All right. So we're not going to wait for people because they can come back and watch this, and we don't want them to be watching like minutes of us just waiting around. So
I gotta eat dinner tonight, you guys.
You haven't eaten yet?
Get right to it.
I've had little mini.
I barely made it here because I had to shower and I was working out. I had to get on the bike.
I've not showered yet. I've not showered, but all right, let's do this. Lori's in the room too, so that's cool. All right, let's roll.
Hi, Lori.
All right, you two ready? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of OTR Live. It is our first real live OTR live edition on YouTube. We're streaming live on YouTube. We had a little mess up, so we're 15 minutes late. We basically had to refresh a few things, reset a password, but we are here, and we have an awesome friend of the pod that we just met a couple weeks ago, and you heard her last week on the pod. If you listened and you heard the end, you know that she just ran in the Mount Washington Auto Road Race. And if you were paying attention on social media, the weather was epic. So Beth Neuts, welcome back to the On the Runs pod in this edition of OTR Live. And I think we lost Beth, actually. So,
wow, oh no.
This is fun. This is working great. Looking for the phone. My phone is Beth. Erica, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Beth is frozen.
Beth,
I don't know. This is what it is. Going live. It's a new thing for us.
Let's see if Beth can jump back in the room. The best part is when she jumps back in, I'll just edit that out. But Erica,
there you go.
Can you not see me?
Nope, it's a little cat thing.
Yeah, that's
funny. Cat says looking for phone.
So much for my little webcam I have.
Is my phone okay?
Yeah, I see you.
Well, I can hear you just fine, so that's a plus.
All right, hold on.
This is super fun for our one viewer.
Beth is frozen. Erica's voice only, she says. Well, it's working.
Well, if she can hear me, that's good at least.
Yeah. I'm restarting the phone. There we go. All right. So I got my
I see you. I'm on Wi-Fi, so I should be okay. Can you see me?
Yeah, hopefully Beth jumps back in. We'll see. Yeah. So, hey, have you been following this what do we call it? There she comes. I was going to talk about the submarine.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's a touchy subject. You're back.
Oh God. Hi.
You weren't the only one. I had a problem at the same time as you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Right. The internet went out at my house. Bizarre, but we're.
It figures right at the opportune moment.
Technology. All right. Let's try this now.
We tried.
All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition, our first real live stream edition. Boy, has it been already of OTR Live. We have Beth Neuts back on the podcast. Beth, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. We're trying to figure this out. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Everyone, all our listeners, if you listened last week, you heard Beth's story, and you also knew that she is now running or just ran in the Mount Washington Road Race. And if you paid attention on social media, it was an epic day. Some of the craziest weather on Mount Washington. It has wild weather. So, Beth, we are here to talk all about it. And I have to say hi to Erica. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I am really looking forward to hearing Beth's story about the Mount Washington road race. I heard a little bit about it in pieces, and I saw that picture that's been circulating, the one of the two runners trying to climb up to the summit. And oh boy, I feel for you guys, everybody who ran that. So cannot wait to hear the story behind it.
It's a good one. So
I wore my T-shirt. That's the Sunrise Ascent on Mount Washington when we do it coming up. So let's get started, Beth.
Nice.
Let's start with the race. Not with the race, but before the race. When did you travel to New Hampshire? Did you do it the morning of, or were you staying at a friend's, or you vacation in New Hampshire? What were you doing?
My mom and my son were going to come with me, and we were staying at a hotel. It's called Inn and More. It was really neat. It was like a digital lock. It was really cool. But my son and I were going to get there first because it was my last day of school. It was a half day, so my son came to school with me, and we did a bunch of stuff at school, and then we just took off from there and went to New Hampshire. But what was supposed to be just me, my mom, and my son ended up being my mom, my two nieces, and my brother, along with my son, all in like this sort of like room where we could all sleep comfortably. But they all got there after my son had fallen asleep, so it was nice. I got to like hang out with them and like just chat, which was really nice and relaxing. I wasn't thinking about like the weather because the weather was such a question up until we started, so it was a little nerve-wracking. So it was nice to have a distraction.
So you had a great cheer squad with you. Did they wind up how did they watch you, or did they just hang out at the hotel?
They did not end up watching, which is, we'll get to that part of it the morning of, because our plans changed dramatically based on the morning of. But the plan was that like during the day they were going to go to North Conway and like shop, and then they were going to meet me at the finish around 1, and then we would all go home together. That was the original plan, but our plans changed. So yeah.
Well, race day. Let's go to race day, okay?
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask you this: when did you know what the weather was going to be like?
Never. We had seen like it was saying that it was going to start raining at like 11. So I was just like, well, we'll be well into it. It's going to be what it's going to be. I had layers. I had like a little backpack. I was ready. So I wasn't worried. It's going to be. I was there, and the morning was right as we were getting ready. A sprinkle, but it wasn't any. Passed really quick. And then when they were like doing like the race announcements, they were saying that like we were going to be above the clouds and that hopefully there would be sun. Like that's what they were telling us at the bottom. So we were like, okay, cool. Yeah. So we all know that's not how it turned out, but yeah. So we.
Well, let's go
to
race.
What time was the race supposed to start at?
It was supposed to start at 9. It ended up starting. There was a 5-minute delay because of the epic traffic, and I think I really do believe there was like some question at the top of like what the weather was going to be. So looking back on it now, people have said that 5-minute delay was like, what are we going to do? But we all went up there. So
did the traffic like delay you, or were you running late and then like anxiety through the roof?
So my plan was I was meeting to give my pass to somebody who was going to be giving me a ride down. I didn't know him. He was like, I'm going to be wearing a red and pink hat. And I was like, okay. And so he was like, I'm going to be there at 7. So I was all set to leave. So I would get there at 7. And then he was like, I'm going to get there closer to 7:30. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get there a half guy. So I'll wait around a few minutes, but I'll still give myself enough time to get there like 15 minutes early. And when I got there, it was like I could see like the entrance to like the Mount Washington Auto Road, like where we were supposed to park, but it was like stop traffic. And I was like, what is this? And so I got there at like 7, I think it was like 7:20 was like when I like slammed on my brakes and was in the traffic, and I didn't park until 8:30.
Wow.
And I mean, it wasn't even like a half
Wow.
mile, but people were coming from both directions. Like it was, I've never seen any, I mean, like I've seen traffic, but I mean, I just wasn't expecting that. I don't think anybody was, because everybody after we parked was saying, I've never seen it like that. So I don't know what happened, but it was quite the traffic jam. And the guy that I had to give my auto pass to actually ran up to my car. He was like, "What's your license plate?" So I told him my license plate, and he came running, and I was like waving because I. So he came and like got it, and then ran it back to his wife so she could drive up. But yeah, it was crazy. So
Yeah, little birdie, let's call her an angry bird, was going up hiking that weekend and ran into all that traffic, and she was
yeah,
not pleased at all. She was stuck in traffic for like an additional, like, I think she said 2 hours, because she had to go drop a car off and then come back the opposite way. So she was
she
not
doing
having it.
Was she
But
doing the prezzies in that weather too? I mean, Danielle's
I
pretty. I'll call her by her name. You can call her little birdie, but Danielle's pretty
I know.
extreme. She's extreme. Nothing's gonna stop
Yeah,
her
she
from
did.
hiking.
She did wind up hiking something. Was it the Carters? I don't know. I'm not the 4,000-foot expert, but yeah, she was just saying that, like, how backed up it was, and how like there was no lane to go around the traffic that was trying to turn, and it was kind of a
of the
shit
car and
show.
like running
So
down, So yeah,
yeah.
Well, let's go
shenanigans.
to the start of the race. And
Mhm.
when we spoke last, I gave you a little insider tip on the auto road. Did you remember my tip?
I did, and it was very helpful. There were two pieces of advice that were super helpful. There was yours that was like, you're gonna go up that first little part, and then it's gonna flatten. Well, not flatten, but it'll get a little easier. So there was that, and then there was a guy at Packet Pickup who was like, run as much as you can, and then like after that, he's like, I count my steps, so I'll run like 20, 50, 100, and then I'll walk the same.
Oh.
So then I started doing that, and that was great. So like I would like, run when I could, and then like I would do like 50 and then, walk or whatever. So that was super helpful too. But between your thing of like that little first spot is kind of tough, and then don't go all out, and then the 50, 100, whatever steps thing, that was super helpful too. So those like carried me that first little bit.
That's a cool tip. That's a cool one
Yeah.
for that.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I had never thought of it.
So how did the start go? Like you said, maybe it was sprinkling there or something. And how did it go? How was in your head? How was everything?
It was great. It was overcast, but I mean, like honestly, like the first like 4 miles was awesome. I mean, other than it was gray, so you couldn't see, but I mean, it wasn't anything awful, and the weather was great for like that day. Everybody was taking off their jackets. Like I was running in a tank top and shorts until mile 6. But I mean, yeah, the weather, it was pretty much perfect. I mean, a little disappointing with the views, but other than that, I mean, everybody was happy, everybody was chatting, like, yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it, because everybody is just like in that sort of same boat of like, well, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna run a little, walk a little, and yeah, it was great. We were having a blast.
How many were there? Do you know?
Somebody was saying it was like 1,200.
Wow.
But I don't know. I mean, like, it seemed like a lot. The big crew. And it was funny too, because at one point when I was running, this woman turned and like looked at me, and I was like, that lady kind of looks familiar. And I'm not even joking, like Maine is such a small place. She was like, I know you, you're from Freeport. And I was like, and she works, because she worked at LL Bean. I don't know why she remembered who I am, but I was like, yeah, talking to her and this other lady for quite a bit later on. But yeah, it was just so funny. She was just like, oh, I know you. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you look familiar too.
LL Bean, who we learned is an actual person last time.
That's right. LL Bean came back to push me through. Yeah, it was great.
So walk us through your entire race. Bring us from that first steep hill to the top. Give us the story.
Oh, okay. So it was so funny because like the first, like, you start and it's beautiful. Like I had never been on the auto road. Like, I mean, so like I knew the mountain, but I had never been on the auto road. I had never seen it. It's so pretty. Like I definitely don't want to drive on that road, but I did enjoy walk running it. It was so much fun, and it was so you're going up the first 2 miles, even the first 4 miles. Everybody sort of talks about it in like, the 2, the 4, and the 6, and then 6 to the end, and how it's sort of almost like 3 different races, because like that first part you're sort of,
Mm.
it's steep or whatever, but you're getting your balance, and then like that middle chunk can be challenging, but it's, you're there, footing, and then the last part is like that's where, like weather hits, they can get a little tricky. And I was like, okay, so I was loving it. I was having so much fun like the whole time, and I realized as I was running it that like I don't climb mountains. I don't do things like that. And people were hiking. I'm like, I'm not hiking, I'm running. And I realized the last time that I like hiked a mountain, like a real mountain, was when I studied abroad in South Africa. I lived in Cape Town, and they didn't tell
Wow.
us that we were going to hike Table Mountain. They just took us to the mountain, and then we all ended up hiking to the top, and it was insane. And that's the only mountain I've ever hiked and probably ever will hike. But so as I'm like jogging up the mountain, I was like, oh, so I was like reminiscing in my head. I'm like, oh, this is like Table Mountain, and so that kept me going. And so through 6, living my best life. At 6, it started to get kind of chilly, so I put on my I had a long sleeve, but still, like, it was still nice. It was just getting cold. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
6.5, it was like all chaos, all whatever, like the the skies opened, and we're just like, we're gonna throw everything at you, and it's just gonna
Oh
be chaos.
no.
And as we had been hiking, I mean, as like you could see water like running down the road, and you were like, where's that coming from? Well, now I know. But
Yeah.
So it was
yes,
that bad.
it went from like
Wow.
nothing, like the fog came in first, and that was the weird part. So you were running, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden you were in fog, and you couldn't see the people in front of you. Like you were like solo. It was, in like the never ending story when like Atreyu's like
Yeah, I
in
love
like
that
the
movie.
it that like when he's in the fog and he can't see anything. That's what it reminded me of. And so like every once in a while somebody would like come out of the fog, and then like this rain started with like the wind, and it was like this
Mm.
instant like ice cream headache, like right here and like right in your face, and like my eyes like felt like
Oh
they were
no.
freezing. It was so weird. And I was just, so then I like started running like with my hands like this, because like to like block rain and like the ice cream headache and the,
Mhm.
and so I'm walking like this, and I'm like, isn't a good idea, because like I can't really see, but like as long as I can see that like I'm still on the road, I'm good. And all of a sudden I hear someone go, "Smile," and I look up, and it's the photographer, and I'm like, what? Like I can't
I'm
even
not
like
in the
see
mood,
him.
man.
I'm like, I gave him like the thumbs up, like, yeah, like this is fun, but it was like, I mean, like it was insane. And so like, and then too, like my shirt, like I'm just dripping water because it's like pouring, and I was like, do I
Mhm.
stop and put a coat, like, but I was like, if I open up my backpack, like then it might get wet, and then like what if I can't find these people that have like my dry clothes, like I'm just gonna keep going. So you get to like that last little bit, where you're like climbing up, and like it wasn't even like at that point, like I was so cold, like I was just like, I don't care, like I'm gonna go up here and go wherever I need to go to get out of this weather.
Mhm.
um and you get to like the finish, and there was a lady that was like had been behind me, and she was like kind of struggling, and she finished like the same time as me, but like she was like collapsing, like she was like on like the verge of
Oh
hypothermia, so they're all like
no.
wrapping blankets around her, and I sort of like stopped to like look at her, because I was like, is she okay? And then this lady, like one of the volunteers, like she's like yelling at me, she's like, are you okay, are you okay? And I'm like, I am totally fine. And she's like, take this, and she
Mhm.
like wraps the blanket around me, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, go up there, it's really cold. So I'm like, okay. So I walk in, and I've got this blanket, and I'm like shivering. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is good. So I get inside, but there's like, again, like all the people that had come up on the cog, all the people that are waiting for like their runners and their people are all
Oh.
inside like that summit house. So I'm like, I don't know what these people look like. I barely know their names. And I'm like looking around, and I had put myself in like a Target bag, but I had like yellow Crocs, and I had put those on the top. So I'm like looking around, and all of a sudden like I see my bag like on the ground, and I just yelled because I was so excited. I'm like, that's mine! Like, that's my stuff. And the lady was like, oh, are you Beth? And I'm like, yes. She goes, oh, here's your stuff. So she hands me my bag, and I go to like try to like get changed. I'm in line, and there's all these people who were very obviously like on the cog and were like trying to use the bathroom. And this one lady was like in line. She's like, what is this? Like, where did you come from? And I was like, oh, I was like, we just did like the Mount Washington Auto Road Race. And she goes, what? And she goes, you ran? And we were like, and so me and this other lady were like, mm-hmm. She goes, why? And we were like, oh, like, because it's fun. And she's like, but the weather. And and we were like, it wasn't great. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, do your hands work? Because like my hands were like shaking, and I had like tied the bag shut. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, any chance you can like untie this knot for me? And the woman was like, oh my God, of course. So she's like ripping my bag open for me. She's like, do you need anything else? I'm like, nope, that's all I need. But yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. And like all the cog people were like, what was it like? You know, and I'm like, oh, it was great until the last like, 3/4 of a mile. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was nuts. Yeah, I was just like, oh my God. It was like, I just don't even like, it just went from like everything's like great and like, it's like the everything's awesome to like, no, you know. But still, I mean, it was a blast. Like I had a lot of fun, but yeah.
Have you ever seen, oh, we were talking about Bluey just before this. Have you ever seen the episode where they climb Mount Mom and Dad?
Oh yeah, of course. Yes.
Gotta love Bluey. Gotta love Bluey. Erica has no clue what we're talking about.
Oh.
None at all. I'm okay with
parent
that.
life.
It is. It's just like you just have to have those things, and like that's a show to watch, and not be like, oh no, not another episode. Bluey, I'm like, all right. So
yeah, I agree. I'm into it right now. We'll see what happens in a few more weeks. So, all right. I mentioned that first hill, and that's a steep one, and then it gets a little better. What about the last one?
Yeah, it's like at that point, like it was so cold and like miserable, and like it really like, I mean, it definitely was like, whoa, this is like a little more than I was expecting in this moment. I don't know, maybe because like I definitely wasn't like running like all out, like trying to like, I just wanted to like finish in like that half marathon time, but I did exactly what I wanted to do, so I was thrilled. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, it just at that point you're just like taking those little steps to just get yourself up there. And I mean, at that point too, like it's almost like you could crawl and you'd be at the same, like your body would still be at that point. But there's a lot of cheering. I was so amazed at how many people were like outside cheering in that weather, like at that point, to like cheer people on, because it definitely is challenging, but
Did the race have a cutoff?
Yeah, I
got it's like
facts for you.
Oh yeah.
You want some fun facts real quick, Beth? Did you hit like a camera key on your phone?
I don't know. Did I?
We lost.
Fun fact: I can't see either of you.
Oh well, then maybe it's. And you know what? I got the YouTube stream here, and we still see everybody. So on the YouTube stream.
Oh, that's good.
Beth is back now. Do you see Beth, Erica?
No.
Okay, I see all three of you now. So, yeah.
I'm talking to a black screen. It's okay.
Yeah, your phone. We see you, Erica, and your phone is also
Good.
very, very delayed on the upload, unlike the rest. But anyways,
mine again.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Bummer, dude.
Back to the pod. All right, you asked about a delay, right? No. All right, Erica, you asked about.
I asked about a cutoff.
That's right.
A race like time cutoff.
That's right. I got some fun facts for you, okay? So we'll start with the cutoff. There is a time limit of 3 hours and 35 minutes. The race is auto road, of course, but it's 7.6 miles. You have 4,650 feet of vert, a max grade of 22%. That's that last 50 yards you about. Oh, Lori's telling me it's 330. Well, I have from the website.
What did you say? 335?
It's three. Yeah, I looked
that
it up
5 minutes
just before.
is not going to do much.
Lori also says she can see
Thank
us.
you for
even though
calling
you
him
can't.
out, Lori. I love it.
The average grade is 12%, but there's multiple parts, multiple lengths at 18. So, and then do you want to take a guess on how old you have to be to run in this race? The minimum age for this race is, any guesses?
It's not 18?
No.
14?
No. 14. Eric got it. Erica got it. Ding, ding,
Nice
ding.
job.
Did I really?
Yeah. Erica,
That's
how
random.
many
That's so random.
in the 7.6 mile race, Erica, how many aid stations do you think there are?
2.
1. I know the spot too. It's
Just
like
1. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, they could do more if you just have tables, but I know the spot where it is, probably at the halfway. It's where we take a big break on our hike there for the sunrise ascent. So,
Is
yeah,
there
that's
just like a nice pull off or something up there? I actually haven't
there's
been
actual
there.
multiple pull offs. There's quite a few pull
Okay.
offs for cars to cool down their brakes. So speaking of pull offs and
Interesting.
cars coming down to cool down their brakes, so someone gave you a ride down and it was a stranger, as you said, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Now-
it was. I didn't know him.
Now,
How did you find this stranger to drive you?
There's like a Facebook group where you have to because you have to
Oh.
coordinate a ride. So, and it was very stressful because it took a long time to find a ride. But then the last couple days, a bunch of people seats were opening, and then Tesla also drives people down the mountain.
That's cool.
There's
Really?
a Tesla New England or something, so they were driving people down the mountain in
You said
the
about
cars where you don't have to drive.
1,200 runners. I hope some of them carpooled because that's 1,200 cars up and down. That's crazy.
It was. They had those. I wish I had taken a picture of the lot that we were in because they just jammed them in, and then the woman that was driving us, we all thought we were going to go forward to get out, but she had to back out of where we were to get out. But we were one of the first people actually out and heading down the mountain, which was great. But yeah, it was crazy.
I know some people. Actually ran down. One of our YouTube viewers, I think, ran down. So
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, they don't let us do it
that's
here.
rough
We could
too.
hike down, but they tell us we can't walk down the auto road. But we are allowed when we do this hike to hike down on a trail. So, all right. So you got down to the bottom. What was the post-race atmosphere like down there?
It was so funny because they have that big turkey dinner. So everybody was eating the turkey dinner. I had told my family because of the traffic getting in, and they had my mom and my family had my son. I called them and I was like, just go home. I have my car. I will drive myself home. Just go home. The weather's bad. You have Eli. And so my mom was like, okay. But it was funny because when I finally got down the mountain and I left, which I was no problem leaving, there was no traffic. It was great. I called and they had spent the day in North Conway and they were just leaving North Conway too when I was heading out. So I was like, oh, well, we'll get home around the same time. So that was nice. And they had a good day. So I was happy about that. But yeah, I ended up.
That's good.
Yeah. So.
All right.
How are you feeling after the race? Muscles and stuff.
Besides
being freezing cold.
Yeah, I was very cold. I felt great. The next day, my right behind my knees was the only place that I had any sort of pain or twinge, but it wasn't even that bad. So yeah, I felt great. I was running the next day and just back to my usual routine. So yeah, it's been nice.
All right, we have our first ever question from the YouTube stream ever. First.
I love it.
Lori would like to know, if you do the race again, would you run down?
I think it depends on the weather. I don't know. I don't think I would mind running down. It seemed fun. Like it was just so cold. But I think if the weather was right, I think I would.
All right, cool. Well, I got one more. I got one more question about could be any time, pre-race, during the race, post-race. Did you ever run into Dave McGilvery?
Never saw him, and I was so sad. We went the night before to pick up my and my son. It was so funny. He's been to a lot of races with me, but like they had like the podium set up with like, the 1, 2, 3, and he ran and he jumped up and he was standing there and he's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, like the people that win, like they get up there and they get their picture taken and stuff." And his like face, like it like changed and he like looked at me like dead serious and he was like, "I want you to like get up on that." He goes, "I want you to win. I want you to get up on that podium." And I'm just like looking at him I'm like, "What?" And he was just like, "Yeah, like I think you can do that." And I was like, "Oh, like I don't think that's gonna happen, buddy." But like, I was like, he's like, "I just want you to try your best." I'm like, "I will try my best." And it was so funny because like the next day, it wasn't even that day, and like I had seen him, I had shown him my medal and the blanket that we got and stuff. And the next day we were like driving to my parents' house, and he was like, "Mommy, like, what place did you get on like the stairs?" And I was just like, "Oh, I didn't make it I didn't make it to the stairs, buddy." And he goes, "That's okay." I'm like, "I did a good job." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You did great." But it was just so funny. Like he had never like had like that competitive like, and he just like was dead serious and was like, "I want you to like get on that," like, and I was just like, "Okay." But yeah, it was so funny.
So cute.
If you don't
Yeah, it was
mind,
really
what
great.
was your time?
It ended up, I think it was 2:40. I was
Okay.
like, it wasn't
That's
like
great.
perfect. I wanted like 2:30, but I was like, I'm not gonna like push it because I had never done it. I had no idea what I was walking into, so I really didn't want to like go out and like do something and then like be like halfway up the mountain in a ton of pain and like, so I very much like played
Right.
it cautious.
So
But
knowing
I want to
that,
do it again.
that was my question. Knowing that, will you do it again? All right.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
next year
definitely
with
want to do it
me.
again.
I want
Yeah,
to do it.
definitely.
I think we should all
so much
enter the
fun.
lottery together.
I
Because that's the
think
only
we'll,
way I'm doing it
should.
is with friends.
we
Yeah.
got
Yep.
4 people, I think. We got Beth, you, Erica, myself, and I'm gonna just say, we have 2 people in the
There
YouTube
you
chat.
Nice.
I can't tell you who the other one is. Just says 2 viewers, but maybe if Lori does it again, we could have an OTR Mount Washington Auto.
She's got to go for number 4. She's got to go for number 4.
Yeah.
4
I'll
is a
have
great
to
number.
miss
So
the dance recital, though. I'll have to miss the dance recital.
Hmm.
But I think I'll get a pass. I think I'll get a pass because they're doing dance team. Apparently, she's going to be on dance team. That's
Oh my
expensive.
goodness.
Oh.
And there's 3 dance competitions. So if I go to the 3 dance competitions, or 2 of the 3, I could probably run in this race and miss the recital because the recital.
You got to get a bye week.
Yeah, I know. Well, this was awesome, Beth. Thank you for being our guinea pig.
Thank you.
For our first, like we've done a couple of these OTR lives to start putting them out and getting some reps in, but this is the first time we're officially on YouTube live or live streaming.
Awesome.
It was a little rough
Thank
at
you.
first, but hey, we made
Well, I
it.
actually think playing around next time we do an OTR live, which won't be next Thursday, we might actually also be live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time.
Whoa.
Instagram's
fancy.
not an option.
Technology.
Yeah. Technology was a little. I wasn't frustrated, but it was a little like, is this gonna work or not? So this was fun.
You did good, kid.
Great.
Lori says she'll be there, so we can add her. To the team.
Nice.
All right, cool. But she might make us all run down with her, so be prepared.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in. I'm so in.
All right.
My eyes just lit up. I'm like, this is another Revel race, except cooler.
I'm going to give, I don't know if I'll put this in the actual pod, but I'm going to tell Lori something. I had a decision to make, and one was, do I do Reach the Beach, or do I go and support Erica at Anchor Down? And not that I can go to Anchor Down yet, but I chose, I put all my cards into Anchor Down, and I found myself a substitute for Reach the Beach because I can't take 3 nights off. I can't have Ashley take 3 nights off of work.
But one is doable.
One's doable, so I can get a babysitter for an overnight at Anchor Down.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I want to be there. I want to meet all those
Nice.
people that we never really met yet. So, Beth, you're awesome.
Cool.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
guys.
doing this.
Thank you, Beth.
So much fun.
Last question. What's next? Tell us what's next.
Well, LL Bean 10Ks on the 4th of July, so we'll be doing that, and then Beach to Beacon. So
Fun.
All right. Good luck. Can't wait to see
Got some
and,
good
and
stuff.
continue watching
Thanks,
your
guys.
journey. Remember,
Yeah.
don't hang up. Everybody, Beth Neuts on OTR Live. That was fun. All right.